Welcome to The Explainer. So, in a world that feels like it's been rocked by one crisis after another, one of India's most iconic brands didn't just survive, it completely thrived, hitting a massive milestone. We're going to break down how Amul's brand turnover crossed a whopping 1 trillion rupees. But more than that, we're asking, what can their success teach all of us about being resilient when everything feels so chaotic? All right, let's get right into it. To really wrap our heads around just how huge this Amul achievement is, we have to set the stage. We need to look at the global landscape back in early 2026, because, let me tell you, this was not business as usual. I mean, think about it. You had conflicts in West Asia, just snarling supply chains, right? Geopolitical tensions were through the roof. And India's external affairs minister, S.J. Shankar, he put it so bluntly. He said, everything today is being leveraged, if not weaponized. What he's saying is, we're living in a new reality where trade, technology, you name it, it's all being used as a strategic weapon. And this wasn't just some abstract, high-level talk. This instability had real, immediate consequences. It totally spoke to global investors. So what did they do? They pulled their money out. We're talking about a staggering 1.5 lakh crore rupees yanked from Indian stocks in just the first few months of the year. That is a huge vote of no confidence from international capital. But then, right in the middle of all that economic anxiety, with all that money fleeing the country, we get this absolutely stunning announcement. Amul's total brand turnover didn't just grow, it crossed the 1 lakh crore. That's 1 trillion rupee mark. I mean, it's a historic achievement happening against a backdrop of truly historic challenges. So, that's the big question, right? How in the world did they pull this off? What is the secret sauce here? How does a dairy cooperative not just survive, but absolutely thrive when global markets are in a tailspin? Well, let's get into it. Let's break down this Amul model that made it all happen. So let's talk about the Amul cooperative model. Because here's the thing, the foundation of Amul's incredible strength, it's not in some fancy glass tower boardroom. Nope, it's out in the fields. It starts with the people who are at the very beginning of the whole process. See, at its heart, Amul is a cooperative. Now, that word might sound a little old-fashioned, but don't let it fool you. It is an incredibly powerful idea. It means the company isn't owned by some far-off shareholders or a big investment firm. It's literally owned by the very people who produce the milk, the dairy farmers themselves. And when we say farmers, we're not talking about some small niche group. We are talking about a network of 3.6 million dairy farmers. Just let that number sink in. This structure makes Amul the largest farmer-owned dairy cooperative on the planet. The scale is, well, it's just immense. And what's really interesting is how Amul's own leadership talks about this. You see this quote? They don't just see it as a business win. They call it a victory for the cooperative spirit, a blueprint for economic democracy. I mean, think about that. In a world that is so often obsessed with shareholder value, this is a totally different way of thinking. The profits go back to the producers themselves, not just to investors in another city or another country. Okay, so that cooperative spirit, that's like the heart and soul of the company. But what about the engine? What's actually powering this trillion rupee machine? Well, it comes down to a really smart, really aggressive strategy that's all about cementing their stronghold right here at home in India. So how'd they do it? It really boils down to a few key things. First, just a massive portfolio of products. We're talking over 1,200 different product packs, something for everyone. Second, a distribution network that is, frankly, legendary. It reaches into every single corner of the country. And third, a really strategic push. They didn't just focus on the big cities. They went after towns with populations over 5,000, making sure they were everywhere. Now, this table is super helpful because it breaks down the numbers, that huge 1 trillion rupee figure, that's the total sales of everything with the Amul brand on it. The main marketing group, GCMMF, on its own, brought in over 73,000 crore. The rest of that money comes from local sales by the district co-ops and things like cattle feed. It really shows you how the whole system works together, from the local level all the way to the top. But, and this is a big but, Amul's story isn't just about conquering the Indian market. Not anymore. A huge piece of their success now, and definitely their plan for the future, is to take this cooperative model global. And they're not just winging it. They have a clear game plan. Step 1, establish a beachhead. They got into over 50 countries. Step 2, take on the giants.
They launched fresh milk in really tough developed markets like the US and Europe. And now, step 3, target the future. They're focusing on new growth in places like Africa and Southeast Asia.
And get this, they are not hitting the brakes at all. The plan is to enter 10 new international markets within just the next year. I mean, if that's not a sign of confidence and global ambition, I don't know what is.
All right, so let's put all the pieces of this puzzle together. From a small cooperative in Gujarat to the milk aisle in a US supermarket, what does this all mean? What's the big takeaway from this incredible journey? Why does this model matter so much, especially right now?
Okay, so let's circle all the way back to that first big question we asked. What is Amul's secret to thriving in all this turmoil?
Well, the truth is, it's not just one secret thing. It's a whole blueprint. It all starts with that farmer-first model, right? Putting those 3.6 million producers at the center of everything. That foundation allows them to have a crazy diverse portfolio of over 1,200 products. They get those products everywhere through deep market penetration, and they balance it all with the dual strategy. Keep winning at home while expanding all over the world. And really, this quote from the MD, Jane Mehta, just nails it. He says they're expanding the very definition of what a farmer-owned institution can do. They're proving, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that a business model built on community and inclusion can go head-to-head with anyone and win.
Which leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. In a world that seems to be fracturing, where things feel more and more volatile, could this be the future of business? Is the Amul model, with its focus on shared ownership and community, actually the most resilient blueprint we have? That's definitely a question worth thinking about. Hey, if you found this explainer useful, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button, share it with someone you think would be interested, and subscribe for more deep dives just like this one.
And we really want to know what you think. Is the Amul model the way forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to get a conversation going. Thanks so much for watching.